Are you looking for peace of mind at your doorstep? Look no further. With the Blink Video Doorbell, your home's entrance is always within your control. Check out the link in the video description to learn more and get your Blink Video Doorbell on Amazon. Your home is in your hands.
Verdict: pleasing nostalgia trip. Ever since the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, the measure of a seismic world event is whether we can remember where we were when we heard the news. For my generation, Diana's death and 9/11 were the ultimate JFK moments. Less dramatically, but just as vividly, I have the same recall with films. I can remember, in just about every case, which cinema I was in and who I was with when I first saw a significant movie. For example, I went with my mom to the Palace, Southport, to see the 1969 double bill of Ring of Bright Water and The Plank That Made Me Understand, in my childlike way, the masterstroke of following a near-hysterical weepie with uproarious slapstick comedy. And some 15 years later, with my girlfriend at the New Picture House in St. Andrews, I saw Beverly Hills Cop. From the outset, I loved its potent mix of action and comedy, and of course the incongruity of Eddie Murphy's street-smart Detroit detective operating in pampered Beverly Hills. But most of all, I loved Murphy's pitch-perfect performance in a title role reportedly, and now all but unimaginably, offered to Sylvester Stallone, Harrison Ford, and Mickey Rourke before him. Since then I've had an enduring affection for that film, and so I sat down to the sequels with some trepidation. None of them have matched the original, and the same is true of this latest Netflix effort, the fourth in the series, but the first for 30 years. And yet it's genuine fun, all the same, and an ideal platform for Murphy, an evergreen 63, to show that as cocksure Axel Foley, he still commands the screen with that matchless ability to play for laughs and thrills at the same time. At the outset Foley is still busting criminals in inner-city Detroit, but heads for Los Angeles when he learns that his estranged daughter Jane, Taylor Page, is in mortal danger. Jane is a righteous young lawyer, vigorously defending a man who has been framed for murder by a corrupt cop. Naturally, she has stumbled on a major conspiracy involving, inevitably, a drugs cartel. With the strained father-daughter dynamic as a subplot, all this could be wearisomely formulaic stuff, but somehow the predictability is an asset. The narrative is very 1980s, but that means we can just sit back and enjoy the nostalgia trip. Besides, there's a place for 1980s virtues, and indeed a place for several of the original cast, including Paul Reiser and Judge Reinhold. On the whole, first-time director Mark Malloy astutely abides by Murphy's Law. Give rascally Axel enough funny lines. Co-writer Will Beall is himself a former Los Angeles detective, and daft escapades, which here involve a stolen helicopter, golf cart and 10-ton truck, and he will keep the show on the road. Murphy gets further solid support, incidentally, from Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Jane's ex-boyfriend, another rare honest detective, and from Kevin Bacon as the chief baddie, who admittedly doesn't need to do a lot more than grin wolfishly throughout. Still, at least it makes a pleasant change seeing Bacon actually acting, rather than advertising mobile phone networks or Hyundai cars or recyclable paper clips. I can't be the only one of us to have resolved some time ago that whatever he's selling, I'll try not to buy. Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F is on Netflix, but in another twist of those 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, up he also pops in Ma XX Sheena, ably playing a sleazy private detective in T. West's latest slasher horror starring British actress Mia Goth as Texan porn actress Maxine Minks. Those who saw X, 2022, and the same year's prequel, Pearl, will know that Maxine, survivor of the Texas porn star massacre, is desperate for celebrity. This third film, set in 1985, begins with an ominous quote from Betty Davis, "In this business, until you're known as a monster, you're not a star." In a grim Reagan-era Los Angeles, Maxine wants to break out of porn and is auditioning for a horror film called The Puritan 2, which might bring her the stardom she craves and is directed by an imperious Brit played by Elizabeth Debicki. In the meantime, a satanic serial killer known as the Night Stalker is at large, terrorizing young women. Deftly, and not a little mischievously, West keeps these two strands interlocking, with repeated nods to bygone Hollywood, as when Maxine grinds out her cigarette on the pavement star dedicated to